Welcome to the Circle, which is Introduction to Animism and Spirit World Journeying. It's a big subject. Both subjects are large. Animism is incredibly large. It's really where we all come from, Earth, right? And even for those who feel that your ancestry comes from somewhere else, it's still, we're here now, and we are Earthlings, Terrans, humans, whatever you want to call us. And so, one, we have been born and we come from lineages, ancestries. Um, if we go back before colonization, that have gone on quite a long time, 100 and some thousand years. I mean, a number of generations where we have been intricately connected, just like every other being here on Earth, connected in the web of life. If someone were to ask me, well, what is animism? I would say it is that we are all a part, a thread in the web of life, that we're all connected in that way. We're all made of pretty much the same stuff, right? If you break us down into the elements of us. And there's very little difference in various ways. We are in different forms and we use our communication differently. Trees communicate differently than water or any version of animals. Even all the animals speak differently to each other. We communicate differently than they do, but we all are in this world together. And so that also means that we share the experience of being here. Now, those of us who have grown up in this culture, if you understand what I am saying, then that means we have a similar culture that we were raised in and that our ancestors were raised in to varying lengths of time. Depending on your ancestry, colonization might have started 100 years ago or 200 years ago. For others, it was 1,000, 1,500 years ago. When these other ways, kind of human ways, a certain kind of human ways, came through and said, you need to change. And a lot of horrible things happened, as we know enough about to know that that is true. A lot of those things that happened to change us has been really to separate us, to make us believe we're separate from the web of life. Humans are separate from all of the other beings of this planet. Even that people with white skinned bodies are separate than all the other people here on this planet. There's been a lot of separation, very intentionally, that has gone on in in more recent generations than earlier in our lineages. The good thing about animism, and the word comes from Greek, Latin, that there's a spirit in everything. Anima, right? And I started using that word a number of years ago because the word that I was using at the very beginning of my calling to this was shamanizing. I never called myself a shaman. I've always had my own word for my role. What we're going to talk about and do in a few minutes here is often called shamanic journeying. I have changed the language and call it spirit world journeying, um, so that it doesn't isn't a appropriation from the original people who have had that word shaman, people of Mongolia and Siberia. So animism is I think a good word because it doesn't have a lot of baggage attached to it. Some words like pagan or even Wicca, there's specific kind of traditions or approaches to what we might call animism. But animism is so broad. It's what we all come from. It is all the original ways of humanity we could think of as animistic. And that means that we're all connected and we act like it. So the tree people, the stone people, the wind, we could call it the wind people, all of the animal people, the plant people, the sun, the moon, everyone. And I say everyone rather than everything. That is something that I have come to as well, is that part of the colonization mindset that we've all learned is that only certain beings are people, and people have these certain rights. Others are things. Even other people have been called non-people, and all of the other than human people have been called things, commodities, right? Don't have rights. So I think that that's another important aspect of animism, which is that we are human people, and there are many other kinds of people. Just because we don't understand how another group of people operates or speaks to each other or exists doesn't mean that they're not. It's very arrogant of us to think that. Another aspect of animism, which specifically relates to the spirit world journeying or a certain kind of tuning in and listening, whether you feel like in your mind you go somewhere else or not, is that we're in relationship with everyone else here. And so it behooves us to strengthen, well, one, first, teach ourselves, validate for ourselves that we are really perceiving them, others, right? And then to work those muscles, to practice being in that relationship and listening to others. And another aspect of the people and others other than ourselves is some of us are in physical bodies because nothing ever really goes away, it just changes, right? So our ancestors who have passed on out of their bodies, they're not dead and gone. I mean, every original people of this planet, every animist, indigenous, traditional group of people, even all of the monotheistic religion people, know that ancestors are important. We're connected to them. They're in our DNA. They are not dead and gone. And so that there can also be a level of communication between the physical world and what we might call the spirit world, the ones who aren't in bodies, pretty much. Now, I am not going to say that I know where they are or how that works. A lot of that wisdom has been burned and died with the elders who the last groups of people who really knew such things. But the beautiful part is that through these practices of listening and tuning in and asking and paying attention and journeying and all of these tools, divination, they're all tools that we naturally have within us and we have access to. And that, and this is what my work is utilizing these long-lived tools that are inherent to us as humans to remember how it works. If not for everyone, at least for us. How does our own intuition work? I mean, it's gotten down to the point where most people are taught to doubt our own intuition, to doubt what we know to be true for ourselves. And then when we add in intuitive abilities, so many of us can sense. Anyone who has had an idea of what your cat or your dog wanted from you without them telling you in English knows that there is communication between beings that are not always the way we talk like this with our mouths. There is a reclaiming that is very important. This animism stuff and the what I would now call spirit world journeying or being able to tune in and listen and carry on some kind of ongoing conversation with the world within us and around us, the worlds, right? There might even, we don't know about dimensions, we don't know, there's so many different ways it can be because we're seeing through this one narrow view of what we've been taught. And the way that we've been taught is to minimize all of the expansive nature of the realms of reality. I think we can all agree that the reason that that has happened is to keep us simple in fear and things like that. So sometimes in spirit world journeying, which is a tool that we have access to, it might be that you are just noticing what's going on for you. Does your mind flit from place to place? Do you have a sense of something? Do you hear? Do you see? Do you have a memory from when you were a kid? There's so many things that can float through, and to just let it. The tool that we're going to use to activate the journeying, you're tuning in, you're listening, is a consistent drum beat. So consistent or monotonous, consistent rhythm, consistent sound really works on our brain waves very quickly, drops them down more where we dream, even a bit deeper than where we meditate. And with intention, that can open up our entire dreaming mind in a variety of ways. So now before I drum for you, I want to give you a few things to keep in mind. Whether or not you feel like you, quote, go somewhere, or that somewhere comes to you, like, wow, I'm traveling and I'm seeing all this stuff and it's like a story and it's big and it's fast, and it may not be like that. You might have a blip or a glimpse of something, and then it kind of goes back to a waiting feeling. You might have a sense in your body. You might notice your body in a different way. The drum might resonate in your body in a certain way. All of those are valid. You might not see a thing, but you might have like an idea come to your mind, or you might be able to recite something that you haven't been able to remember in many years. Even if you feel like you're thinking about your everyday life, I would offer that it's not like you typically think every day. When the drum is going, something else is going on too. So if you end up having thoughts about your life, maybe a witness part of you could get curious and say, why am I thinking about these particular things? Without trying to clamp down and really think, figure something out. Just more of a drifting kind of mind. A loose mind is very helpful. The most important thing to remember about any idea of potentially opening a portal or some kind of um, a traveling, like from where you are, whether you're sitting or laying down in your home, wherever you are right now, that then when that drum starts and your imagination starts to kind of untangle itself and something starts to happen, that you realize that you can ask for help. Through your internal technology of being able to communicate, you can, in your heart and your mind, say, okay, I need help here because I don't really know what I'm doing, or I don't know what I'm supposed to do, or I'm nervous. I feel pressure to see something. And then say, who is here to help me? And then notice what pops into your mind, or however you perceive something. An animal might come. And the other thing, don't discount anything. Meaning, if you start seeing a color, don't say, well, all I saw was a color, like it was nothing. Colors are something. And you don't know if the color that is showing itself to you is simply a color, like a thing, or maybe it's a being showing itself to you in the form of a color. You don't know. So to stay open. And whatever color, a light, something that you don't understand, if you can have the sense in your body of hello, thank you for revealing yourself to me. And then seeing what else wants to flow, like what do you sense? You could ask for assistance about trusting your journeys more, right? Maybe maybe you're not sure what to do or how to receive messages, or when is something a message and when is not. You could ask for a mentor about journeying. You could ask for a mentor about animism, about remembering your animist ways, your authentic animist self. You can ask for that. You can say, I need someone to help me. And then don't discount what pops in your head. A voice in your head might say, "Oh, that's ridiculous. That's from a movie," or "That's too surreal," or "That's silly." Well, that's a judgment. So don't listen to that. Just let whatever wants to unfold be. Sort it out later. Also to know that aspects of what is revealed to you is a part of you. So I feel that we all have our own spirit world, our non-physical realm. People call it imagination. You could call it dream world. You could land of make believe. There's so many different versions of it. It's where all inventions come from, right? It's where sci-fi and stories come from. It's this amazing part of us. And so if during the drum you just kind of relax and say, "Okay, show yourself," and then just see what happens. I have also learned, though, over the years, that sometimes for some people, maybe continuously or maybe for a phase, it doesn't seem to flow about some kind of big journey, like you're going somewhere. I also have expanded my language that you could call it tuning in, you could call it listening, noticing. You might spend the drum noticing how your body feels. If a part of your body starts to hurt or call your attention when the drum starts, don't treat it as if it's a distraction. It might have something to tell you, right? So if you start noticing something like that, here's part of the wisdom of this whole animism journeying thing, which is trusting that anything can talk to you. The synchronicity of a book falling off the shelf, or seeing an animal walk by right when you're thinking of something, or a feather falling out of the sky, or a friend calling you just at the right time. All of that is part of listening and being a part of the web of life. So whether you have some profound experience in the next number of minutes of the drum, or either you do and you're like, "Wow, what was that?" or "Wow, that was amazing," but it might be a time to settle and tune into yourself, to see if you can calm the blah, 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 the worry, the anxiety, the nervousness, to just let yourself not think for a number of minutes. Maybe that's what you need right now. If you fall asleep, maybe you're tired. So really, there's no way to screw this up. There's no way to fail. One, it's one drumming. It'll be about 10 minutes. It might seem really long to you. It might seem really short. Time tends to shape shift with trance work. It's a time to be with yourself and to kind of say internally, I am I am curious about knowing more about this part of me. Who is here to help me? And then just see. Know that you can ask a question. You can say, "Do you have a message for me?" to anything, including your body. If you notice a doubter mind or a doubter voice or a critical voice, anything like that that doesn't feel good, instead of going, "Oh yeah, you're right," a certain part of you say, "I see you. It's a bully. I treat them like bullies. They're not actually you. So don't give in to it. Like, tell it, go sit in the corner. I'm doing something here." Like, don't give in to it. But it's good that you notice it because it probably is running rampant in other parts of your life. So let's just look at this next number of minutes as an opportunity to be in a sacred way with yourself and listen and notice and practice asking for help, asking for guidance. So when the drum starts, just listen to it for however long. You can listen to it the entire time. If you have headphones or earbuds, it will help a lot to get the sound right in your ears, more so than through the device speakers. So if you need to take a moment and do that, I would suggest doing that. If you don't have any, it'll be fine. And then you might even breathe on purpose. Like it makes me yawn. Need more oxygen. So maybe you need to breathe a couple times just to settle your system. There might be expectations going on in your head. You might have an expectation about what's going to happen, or uh-oh, what if I don't see anything? What if I fail? What if I suck at this? Just breathe into all those thoughts and just let them go by the wayside, because they will only make it harder for you. Ask for a place to start. Think of a place where you feel safe. Could be a nature place. So let's just start right here. So I'll guide for a couple few minutes, and then I'll be quiet and I'll just drum for you. At the end of the drum you'll hear a call back, which is that the drum stops, and then there's a little bit more. So whatever's going on for you at that point, begin to bring your attention back to your body. Feel your spirit body dock back in if it felt like it was away, and find something to offer gratitude for. Focus on what did happen. All right. So notice the drum. Breathe. Breathe out any expectation or worry. Maybe a yawn. Tell yourself that you know how to do what you are doing right now, whatever that is. And then think of a place in nature where you feel comfortable and safe. Whether you've been there in the physical world or not, it doesn't matter. If it's in your imagination, great. If it's a place that you've been before, great. If you have to imagine it, if you have to kind of summon it, pick a place, then that's okay. Could be the dark. But begin to notice as if there are eyeballs inside your eyelids that can see beyond your eyelids. Begin to notice, where am I? What other beings are here? If it's not completely dark, you will begin to maybe have an idea or an imagining of a place where you are. And so all of what you see are other beings that are there too. Whether a tree or water or air. Air is a being. The sun or the moon or clouds. Maybe imagine that you're looking down and you see your own lower body. Maybe you're wearing what you are actually wearing in your physical world, and maybe it's something else. You could just imagine it. And then think about what drew you here. What is your intention? What do you want? And practice speaking it from your heart internally, as if you are speaking it to this entire world where you are. Even if you are in the dark behind your eyes and you feel like you're still in the room you're in, you are not actually just there. So what is your intention? And then ask for help in your own way. I need a mentor or a guide or an ally for this work. And then notice what you sense. ask a question. Know that you can ask for more help. You can ask for an ancestor or someone that you know. Just trust what comes. So as your attention comes back, guide your inner self back into your body if it felt like it was separate, or if you forgot your body for a little while. Maybe offer gratitude for your body, just how it is right now. And also for what came or what occurred or anything that did seem to happen. And please place your focus on what did seem to occur rather than what seemingly didn't. And offer gratitude for what did seem to come. There might be something that you want to write down or maybe kind of bring down into your body so you remember, because it can be like remembering a dream. All right, so to close, a couple things come to mind. One is that the physical action of offering gratitude for whatever it was that happened, seemingly simple or dreamlike, or maybe you feel like you got a nap, any of that, to say thank you rather than, well, all I got was, oh, nothing happened. To build relationships, it takes an openness to expand the relationship. That's true with other people, it's true with animals. The repetitious showing up and saying, "Hi, I'm here to connect," right? So even if in this time you got more than you expected, or maybe it was different, or maybe not as much, but just to be grateful for the process that you've just tried, that you just opened up to, because that connection can be available to you in so many ways at so many times in your life, on so many levels, right? To be able to cultivate a relationship with calmness or specific directions to do something, or a connection between something you saw in a dream and something that might be even more deeply helpful to you. A glimpse of someone or something, whether you know what it is or not, might become more helpful sometime later, or maybe you have something to be helpful to them, right? So in building relationships, just think about that. The way to build a relationship is to engage more often, or again. And so it doesn't have to be a drum. It doesn't have to be like it was last time. It will always be different. And yet, the more that you reclaim your ability to use this part of yourself, the more of yourself shows up. Healing work that needs to happen because of past trauma, or that your things that you're working out can be worked out over time by incorporating this kind of practice to activate your dreaming mind to be on the task of the healing that you need as well. So there's lots of benefits to it. And the most important thing is that we gain experience in trusting ourselves and what comes to us over time through doing these kinds of practices. Even if you don't understand it, that's okay. Maybe someday we will. So thank you for showing up and for being open to practicing with me. weboflifeanimus.com. There's lots of pre-recorded stuff. There's drum tracks there. Also, at least one soundscape that I've made of some nature sounds plus rhythm, to just give yourself more ways to loosen up and listen. And those are all under offerings at weboflifeanimus.com. Thank you.